This time on Custom Works, we're going to be sorting out that back window once and for all. Let's get to the workshop. Okay then, so I've been working on this back window surround, and as you can see, what I've done here, I've added a strip of bond all the way around this. And if we look from here, it's a lot better, a lot deeper. And we've still got the standard rebate there. So that's the standard rebate there. And what we've done is, I know what this is, about 25, we've gone about 25 mil down, just to make that a little bit deeper. I'm going to do, on the flip side of this, I'm gonna fibreglass all the way around here, just to strengthen this up. So at the minute, this is just super glued together. This will make it a lot stronger. And then what I'm going to do, use in here on the inside, to get rid of some of these gaps and stuff. There's quite a big gap somewhere there. What I'm going to do is go over this with a fibreglass tissue, and then I'm actually going to bodywork this before I put it into the back of the truck, just because to bodywork that there's upside down sanding, stuff like that. I don't want to do any of that on the truck. I want to bond it in place, bodywork it in, job done. So let's get on with that. Okay then, so I've glassed everything there, and this is a lot stronger now. It's not quite dry, still a little bit sticky. But what I'm going to do, flip it over. I'm going to flip this over, and then all these little bits that are still a little bit soft, I'm just going to DA all of them off, and then cover all these gaps and cracks here with some fibreglass tissue, very thin, and it will just go around those curves lovely. So I'm going to get on with that, get that done. So this is all looking really nice now. It's looking good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill all of this. Now, the reason I'm going to fill it is because what I'm going to do, I'm going to get it all filled and all right, and then cover it in fibreglass tissue. And the reason I'm going to fill it first is I want that shape to be perfect. I want the shape to be just right so that the fibreglass tissue goes over that shape and it fits perfectly to that form. What I don't want to do is have to sand too much the fibreglass tissue and break through it. So I'll be covering the whole thing, fibreglass tissue, then it's nice and strong and stable, and then I'll literally lightly sand that, fill it, it'll all be smooth and it'll be really strong, and all of those joints will be covered on the front and the back with fibreglass. This is the rear window aperture once again, and what I've done, I've covered it all. On the very curvy bits, I've covered it in fibreglass tissue, but then on this rebate bit, I'm going to try and extend that rebate a bit, because there's not a lot of rebate on it. I've done that in coarse strand matte, and I've covered the whole thing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some fibreglass resin on that, let that dry, then bodywork it smooth, and then we can offer it into the back of the pickup at last. So this back window bit now, looking really good. Fibreglass is just about dry. There's still a few bits in here that seem a little bit soggy, but I think if I take it off of this, I've used some of this Top Gun stuff that you cover cars with when you're painting, like masking, and I've used that to protect the piece of wood, and nothing stuck to anything that I don't want it to stick to. So that's worked out pretty good. I'll just leave the heater on this for half hour, and then we'll come back to this and hopefully clean it up a little bit and get it in the back of the truck. On this rear window, now what we did, we made this a bit bigger, glassed it, and now we've smoothed it all out. Really nice rebate in there to bond back to. I've sanded this all to sort of like 120. I've done that purely because once it's in an awkward place. I'd rather sand it on the bench and sand it over there. And this is the glass that fits in there. Now, this glass, I don't know if the camera can pick this up. I don't really know what this bulge here is. Now, if we put it on a flat edge, you can really see this bulge is like, it's like a 10mm bulge in it. And because of that, and because we've made this inside shape all nice and uniform, our glass doesn't fit in anymore. So, what I'm thinking is, I'm going to have to sand some of this off. So I'm going to use belt sander and water, and I'm going to try and grind this section a bit straighter. It's also, when you're bonding a window, you know, the window's got to be about right. So I'm probably going to take that lump off, and a little bit off there, probably a little bit off here, and probably, let's just get rid of this, let's just get rid of that bump first, and then we'll see how we're going on, because quite a lot to do here. Yeah, I don't see any other way of doing this, and I just hope we don't break the glass. But to the bench grinder, let's see. Okay, so that's took it down quite a bit. Starting to look a little bit more sort of straight. There is definitely work to do. I'll just have a try. You know what? That is not looking too bad. Definitely an improvement, but there's a long way to go yet. So, after a lot of grinding, a lot of arsing about, finally, we have glass in window. Sitting in a nice deep rebate there, so you can't see the gap around the edge. If there is any, we'll be putting a bit of trim on that. We'll blacken the glass, bonding it in. Now, this is ready, minus the glass, to be bonded back in the truck. So, let's get some bonding, let's get to the truck. Let's make window and truck as one again. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Like that fits in there. I'm going to get all this to level up nicely. I'll probably put some nuts and bolts with big washers on just to hold this panel and this, you know, nice and flush. And then we'll get to some glass fibre and glass it in from the back. Oh yes! And what I've done, I've used these nut and bolts with penny washers on them just to hold it in place for now. It's where we want it at the minute. So what we're going to do is glass it on the back and then it will be rock solid. Before that though, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go over all these joins with a bit of masking tape, because what I don't want is to glass it from the back, then come around here and there's just loads of resin dripping down there, because this is pretty well prepared.
Because I did it.
Oh, you did do it? Brilliant. Using my normal technique. Bit of the old trim fix, contact adhesive on first, and then I shall stick this on, and I'll go 2 layers like that, because 2 layers is about all you can get it to soak through. and then I'll go on with a few more layers because, of course, as we've discussed a few times, with this car, wow, it's so thin. It's got like the just enough fiberglass to hold its shape and nothing more. Not a very good body, really. But this, all of this, will make it a little bit stronger than it was. So now, on with some resin. So the fiberglass is now dry, everything's feeling a lot more solid, so it's time to get all this masking off, get these bolts out, and then start to look at how we're going to make this joint permanent on the outside. See, there's a gap around here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run the angle grinder in here to make like a bevel joint. Then I'm going to do something a bit experimental. What I'm proposing to do around the back window, what I would do is, you know, you get this like sort of fibre filler like Isopon P40 stuff like that. I never think that's very good. I've never had it stop anything cracking ever. So what I'm going to do is using fiberglass resin and this stuff, which is like, it's the fibres that you put in. It's fiberglass, but it's what you put into concrete to give it super strength. I'm going to mix this into a paste, I'm hoping, and then I'm going to put it in that crack all the way around there. I got this idea because we use these to do, we mixed it in to do some casting of the grill bars on the WTF1. And we used a bit of that then and it made it super strong, so I'm going to do that. So it'll be like Isopon P40 or like a bridging fiberglass filler, but it'll be a little bit wetter and hopefully a little bit better. That rhymes, and I don't think I'll be rhyming those two words today. Anyway, let's get some gloves. Never attempt anything without the gloves. So then, first up, get some of the fibres, give them a fluff up, make it like a nest. Then I'm going to add some stuff and then start mixing it in. So it's looking pretty good. It's looking a lot like whole bridging compound, but it should dry a lot better because when you use matte and resin, that really is it's the fiberglass, you know. So what I'm going to do, well, let's go to the truck and I'll just do it and you can watch. Okay then, so first what I'm going to do, I'm just going to paint some fiberglass resin in there because I doubled up the mat on the back and I just want to make sure that all of that got like a good soaking. This will also provide like a you know, like a primer for the goo we'll put on. So you can actually see here, there is a little bit of dry fibreglass mat in there. So this should get everything soaked and bonded. This is that stuff I've mixed together, and now I'm going in to fill these gaps. Ooh, this stuff's a nightmare. That really was kind of doing mess. The problem with it is, if you imagine if this was like P40, you'd be able to like cut a bit off, and you sort of can, but it don't spread. It like drags along. Now, I'm seeing that as a good thing, because I always think in like P40, the strands of fiberglass aren't long enough or strong enough, and that's why with P40 you can cut it on the board and then apply it, whereas this was really awkward to put on. I'm hoping that's a good sign, and it's going to be a lot stronger than its commercially available sort of alternative. This sort of compound that I made up is in here, and to me now this just looks like one continuous piece of fiberglass. This is just so much better than it was. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to spend half an hour with the angle grinder. I'm going to grind down all this fiberglass, and I'm going to spend the next 5 days scratching at my arms. Yeah, it's going to be really itchy. Yeah, I'll grind this down, fill this in, and then we're sort of, really getting there on the bodywork. Finally, we're sort of back to where we were, except for very, very important things. This reveal is now deep enough, and the rebate is now large enough that we can bond a piece of glass in there, and it's just going to look so much better. Also, like I've said before, there's more angle in this, so it makes the back of the cab, like, this is rigid now. You know, this cab, so solid, and yeah, this is going to look better, be leak free. This window's going to have it all. And that I just did was that the big reveal? I'll get my coat.